Hello YouTube, it's Rob, Maxwell's Grass Cutting Services based in the northeast. Welcome, hope everybody's well and having a great day. Today we're going to be mowing a lawn with the Honda HRX 537, and it's going to be on mulch. We've done this lawn before, and in a previous video I said that I was going to mulch this lawn every 7 days throughout the season. No chemicals, no weed and feed, no nitrogen, no seaweed, no iron added to the lawn, and we're going to see how we get on, see if the natural sort of nitrogen and nutrients the lawn gets from the clippings is the same as if you didn't weed and feed it. Hope that makes sense. The long story short is due to logistical issues and that, I haven't been able to mulch it every 7 days. We're going now, and it's not been cut for 2 weeks, so I'm expecting a little bit of growth on it. I'm going to mulch it, I'm going to trim it, I'm going to blow it, and then I'm going to give it a second cut. I'll show you the results, and then I'm going to come back and tell you what I think about mulching, the pros, the cons, and when's the right time to do it, when's the wrong time to do it, and just have a little chat about it. All right, so don't go anywhere, let's get this job done. So, as you can see, it's done a good job, and I'm happy with it. But is it good to mulch every time? The long story short is no, I don't think it is. When the lawn's dry, and if you're cutting it every 2 or 3 days during a dry spell, the clippings do help, and they produce nutrients. Nobody can argue with that. It does a good job. But if you're doing a weekly or fortnightly cut, sometimes you're going to be there and it's going to be a little bit wet, and it's not ideal to mulch in the wet. Sometimes, you know, the grass can be a little bit too long. So for me, it depends on the circumstances. If you've got a lawn that you're mowing regularly and it doesn't grow out of control, then mulching is a positive. If you've got a large field where you've got no chance of getting the clippings boxed and bagged, well, a mulching mower is a fantastic option. But mulching in the wet isn't brilliant. It's at its best when it's a lovely dry day and you set the mower just a little bit higher, and it allows it to do its job, and it gets the clippings cut down to a very fine short blade of grass that's deposited on the lawn, and within 24 hours it breaks down into a wonderful nutrient feed for the lawn. And yes, it has its place, but for me, mowing every time on the mulch, it's a no-no. I think you've got to weigh up when it's good and when it's bad. But the Honda HRX 537 gives you the option to mulch and to bag, which is brilliant. I've got to be honest, I've never used a mulching only mower, so I can't say how good they are in comparison to the Honda, which does both. So if you've got an opinion on that, please leave a comment. But I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please like, subscribe for more videos similar to this. Today's message: mulching has its place, but not every week, and not on every lawn, and not in every weather condition. Take care. Have a great day. All the best.